Today, I really want to know how many of you can relate to this. Like, is it just me? Or is it hard being the happiest person in the room? Is it like hard showing up and being joyful and lit up and having fun and being that person that wants to have fun? Because it's just not always well received. And hi there, Rob. Hi, Tim. Hi, guys. Some of my photographer friends in the house. Hello, hello. Saying hi from California. I live out in Miami Beach now. But if you're ever out this way, let me know. Let's do a shoot. So what kind of brought this up for me today? Oh, there goes my camera. I wanted to share. Let me see. I used to be able to share photos on here. Is it gonna let me? I don't see it anymore. Oh, that'd be such a bummer if they got rid of that feature. I'm not seeing it right now where you can add an image to your live stream. Okay, well, I saw a meme that I wanted to share that got me thinking about this today. That really hits home for me, that it said, some people will be inspired by you and some people will be triggered by you, and both are medicine. And it made me think of another expression that I've heard before of, when you shine brightly, you're bound to cast some shadows. And for me personally, I feel like this has been like a lifelong thing, where I grew up in a household that was filled with a lot of anger and a lot of emotional insecurity and abuse even, and trying to show up as my most me self resulted in other people tearing me down. And I think it's a guesstimate here that a lot of other creative entrepreneurs out there, a lot of other people that might be following me, that if you're following me and you resonate with me, that you might kind of be that black sheep, right? Where you're going off and you're doing something outside the norm. You're out creating a life that looks different from others, where instead of the 30-year mortgage, you're building a van to go live down by the river, sort of thing. Like, your dreams involve freedom and working for yourself and sharing creative or spiritual passions or messages or abilities to heal others or inspire others. And I'm going to just like throw on a bunch of my mentors here. A line from, I believe his name's Marshall Mathers, otherwise known as Slim Shady, Eminem. I've heard him say, he's one I like to quote too when people talk about haters. He says, good, that means you've done something with your life. If people are out there hating you, good, that means you've done something with your life. But as somebody who personally I feel like it's my goal and my desire to light up a room and to inspire others just by them seeing me and seeing how I live my life, that as a result of being seen, I cast a lot of shadows, and that can be really hard for me. Really hard for me, especially when you care a lot about a specific person. And as they're seeing you shine brighter and believing their shadows and their limitations, their negative beliefs get shook up and come to the surface. And I think that's what I feel like I've been dealing with a lot, my whole life. So tell me if that resonates with you too. That the happier I'm trying to be, there's something called a crab effect. Tell me if you've heard of this before. The crab effect, and it's probably true, who knows? But when there's a bunch of crabs in a trap and one tries to crawl out of said trap, the others will literally bring him down. And I think for a lot of us, potentially for you, that as you go out and you're doing something different and you're believing in yourself, that doesn't always resonate with other people and the limitations they put on themselves, and therefore for what they think is your safety, they think they're loving you, they're caring for you, they try to bring you down. The example, but the visual makes sense. Awesome. So an example I could use from my own life, or I think how it played out for my own life when it came to like my parents. My parents were young individuals who grew up certain ways and were living their lives with like, this is what you do. Like you go, you get a job, you work it, you get a house, you live in it. Like that was the extent of it. The most recent time I saw my stepdad, he mentioned that Costco now has Wagyu steaks, but they're $200 and he'll never be able to afford a $200 steak. That was his like direct quote. That is his belief, is he'll never be able to afford a $200 steak. And so being young and being of that limited mindset, and you have kids, like what are kids as we're born, each and every one of us? We don't have those limitations on us when we're born. So I can imagine having children who are like lit up and inspired and believing in themselves. And my goal, the job I wanted as a little kid, I was like, I want to be president of the United States, and like I want to be an artist for Disney. And this is a weird one. I was like, I want to marry a black man because racism is wrong. You know, like I don't even know like why, like where that came from. And it was like 4. I don't know where I saw or even learned about racism, but somehow I knew it, and I thought like that would be my contribution to counteract it. But you know, I'm single now, I could still do it. That's like me trying to balance it. I don't know. But so you have these kids, and I can just imagine that having these children and that their beliefs are wide open, and the environment I grew up in, at least, it wasn't like absolutely go for it, you can do anything. It was, oh, well, that's really sweet, but here's all the reasons why that will be hard. Here's all the reasons why that's unlikely. Which, again, we have to trust comes from a place of love. But it's baffling to me, and perhaps to you too, as somebody who is here with the intention of unlimiting myself. I'm not here to put limits on me. Like, why would you? And why would anybody do that to a child? I feel like that's the most fucked up thing in the world. But I believe that that's the environment a lot of us grow up in. And that's the reality that a lot of human beings still exist in. So especially now as adults, as we're out there creating our own businesses, as we're showing up online, as we're traveling the world, as I have been, the brighter I'm shining, the bigger the shadows I'm casting. And recognizing if you feel like this relation to you, that as a result of casting shadows, a lot of people then become angry and turn on you and can push you out of their lives. And that can be really fucking difficult, which is, I think, where I started this live stream. And unfortunately, then what becomes sort of the pattern here, or the thinking, is that in order to not get pushed out of people's lives, I have to shrink back my light. That in order to not cast shadows and trigger others, that then I need to not be seen. Which now, when it comes to showing up online and getting more followers and growing our amazing businesses, is completely contradicting. You following all this? Some people will be inspired and some people will be triggered. Both can be medicine for that individual. And both can be medicine for yourself as you recognize that people's triggers aren't a reflection of you. That's the fucking hardest thing. That's the thing that I've really been trying to face my entire life. I've seen some little emojis here. I'm sending some honey. Thank you. I like honey. Thank you, honey. So really, our desire is to inspire others, but a lot of people will be triggered. And something that I want to share that I feel helps me, the medicine I mentioned. Yes, the honey. It can be medicine. I like to kind of take it to the extreme, because this isn't a me problem. This isn't a you problem. This is a universal human problem, right? If we're all crabs, there's always going to be those that are rising to the top. And you can see this play out in society so much. And the example I like to think of and like put my mindset into is of celebrities and famous individuals. And, you know, pick your favorite celebrity. Right? My roommate's sister got me hooked on this show on Apple TV called Ted Lasso. It's just like so wholesome and like good. There's so many moments in it. I'm like, oh, he's a good dad, or oh, he's a good coach, or, you know, like whatever. Jason Sudeikis, very famous man, but use whoever. Like let's use a female, because for some reason us females seem to be even more triggering. There's two things that are very triggering, right? As a society, is a successful female and then billionaires. And then when you get the two together, like, oh my God. We have the opportunity to see that celebrity and just think like the Kardashians, whether they're for you or not, right? They have inspired millions and triggered probably billions, right? There's something, again, maybe that crab collective mindset. There's something very like bonding about getting together and trashing these people and trying to pull them down to our level. So something that helps me though is then stepping into what it must be, the mentality and the inner infrastructure that has to exist to be that kind of successful, to be that famous, to have that kind of money. They are inspiring millions and triggering billions. And here I am, you know, upset that there's like 3 people mad at me. In order to reach that next level, there really has to be that inner infrastructure of some people will be inspired, some people will be triggered, but I'm still going to do and be mean. Be me. And eliminating or coming to terms with this fear of being seen. And I've been dealing with that very directly recently, unfortunately, where I've had a roommate, and I don't want to say that this is the reality, this is just my perception of it, is that it seems like the happier, the more carefree that I am, the angrier this individual is, and the more judgmental and critical they are of me. And that's been very hurtful, because once again, I experienced this in my marriage too, with my ex-husband. I was like, no, let's just choose to believe. Like, wouldn't it be so amazing if you just did this with me? If you were inspired and wanted to join me? But the fact is that I've done a lot of really cool shit in my life, and that I do things in a way that isn't the normal. And you probably relate to that. And as a result, that's very triggering to other people. The fact that I go out on, you know, even we'll use like my niece as an example. In a way, I've sort of like triggered her, where she's 6 years old, and I like to take her out on girls' night, and I'll bring my laptop, and we'll get dressed up, and I'll bring my laptop, and she'll bring her iPad, and we'll go downtown, and we'll have fancy drinks, right? And she said to me, she goes, "You're working?" Because I have my laptop with me and I'm doing things, or I have my phone. Even if I'm on my phone and I'm in bed and I'm doing things, let's think like what a trigger is, right? We're challenging somebody's belief. And at 6 years old, she's never seen anybody work the way that I do. So for her to see me, she said, "You're working? Like I literally challenged the 6-year-old's worldview. So imagine that that's you right now in the present day, and that's me. And I'm saying, you know, everybody's like, you need a plan, you need a savings. Like, what's your plan? What are you going to do? Like, where are you going to go? How are you going to live? Like, what's, you know, you need to sign a lease, and you have to have contracts, and you have to have stability, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, not to say I don't want stability in my life. Like, that would be really great, and that's something I'm deeply working on. But I live life a little bit differently. Where I follow, okay, what's the next thing for me? And a lot of times I don't know until it's happening. I didn't know I was going to move to Miami until I moved here. And I didn't know I was going to move to Miami Beach until I was here, because I literally didn't know it was a thing. And I just followed what felt right to me. And it's been difficult for me doing that in my life when it feels like you're surrounded by people that don't understand. So I think you can probably relate to this, and this is why I'm talking to you. Because if you're here, you get it too. And just recognizing the thing I really want to share about this and help us all move through. Flyness says they resonate. Thank you. You get it. So it's like, okay, so here's our awareness of the situation. And our egos and our hearts, especially me, like I'm a sweet little lady. And inside me is like this sweet little girl, right? That was sort of like rejected and stamped on, you know? Like tamped down, like that crab effect. And so then from there it became like this protective defense against being seen. Because, oh, there's the storyline. Oh, but when I show up as my happiest self, this other person gets angry and they tear me down. And so what's better is just to not be seen. Which again is completely contradictory to now like going out online and building your incredible business. So what do we do with it? Right? What do we do with these feelings? Thank you very much. What do we do with these when somebody that you love, like my ex-husband, was so angry at me that I wanted to like go do this cruise with him for our anniversary. And we did like a timeshare presentation, and there's going to be a big discount. But of course, you know, it's never a free cruise. There's no such thing, right? If they ever try to pull you into like a timeshare presentation, then just a heads up. It's really not a free cruise, but it was a big discount. Flyness says, I'm preaching to you today. Good, I'm so glad. I'm happy to do so. But so I was like, let's go on this cruise together. And I just wanted to believe, you know, it was like 3 months out. I was like, if we focus, if we make this our goal, like we can do anything, right? And like think of any person you admire, any mentor, any teacher who doesn't say the exact same thing. Through God, all things are possible, right? And what is God except faith and a belief and a focus of our energy into creating something? So I said, let's focus on this. And it was such a battle with him all along the way. And I probably didn't handle it well. About like the money and the finances and the fear and the worry. And it's like, okay, those things exist in me too. But which wolf are you going to feed, right? If there's 2 wolves in you, which one are you going to feed? I'm like, I want to feed the cruise. I want to go on this fucking cruise. I want to, you know, like I'd rather try and fail. But let's fucking go for it. Let's put all of our energy into that. And unfortunately, I suppose this is why connection and relationships are so hard. And this is why, for me personally, I've isolated so much in my life. It's just easier to not be seen. Because at some point, his doubts and worries really fucked with me. And sometimes those negative energies can be heavier and they can win. They can definitely, certainly win, or it can be really hard to hold on to your beliefs when nobody else is supporting you. The other downside of not connecting, right? Got to connect with the people that do believe in you. So that's what we'll get to. And what's funny though about that instance with the cruise is that his doubts and fears ended up winning over my desire to believe in this cruise. And what's funny is, so we didn't go on the cruise, but he's like, I'll find us something here to do in LA. And after like you looked at everything, we spent about the same amount of money, plus a lot of time and energy fighting, versus if we had just gone on the cruise. So that's like where I get hurt personally, because I'm like, if you just like believed in me, like just have some faith and some trust in me. And that's not going to come from everybody. You have to make peace with that. And getting into, okay, who does it matter most from? Finding that trust and that belief in you. And then intentionally surrounding yourself with people that do believe in you. And even when you can't find a single fucking one, believing in yourself enough to show up and be seen anyway. It is a gift. And I think all gifts are like a double-edged sword, right? It's a curse and a blessing. So often our greatest strengths are also our greatest weakness. With my modeling career over the last 11 years, my greatest strength, some of them was like my diversity, as well as my ability to just like follow my gut and my intuition and end up exactly where I needed to be. Those are also my greatest weaknesses because people want notice when you're coming to book you. Like so many times I travel, I'm like, hey, I'm here in New York. Do you want to book a shoot? And they're like, I really need a little more notice than like 2 days. Like next time, give me more notice that you're going to be here. And I'm like, I didn't know I was going to be here until I knew I was going to be here. Like I let you know when I knew. So a lot of times those greatest strengths are our greatest weakness. So if it is a strength to shine bright and do something different, it can also be our greatest weakness because that takes courage. That's going to trigger people. That's going to have adverse reactions from others. And the only thing you can do is get into yourself and process that and understand that, oh, this is a story that they have. And am I going to choose to believe this, or am I going to choose to believe in me? And sometimes as a result, you have to separate from different people. You have to agree to disagree. And you have to go do it anyway. And as far as that ability to get over the fear of being seen, I like to say confidence comes from two different things. Confidence comes from two different places, okay? One's internal and one's external. The internal confidence to be seen is doing exactly what I've been talking about, like doing that inner work and taking a look at, well, what do I believe and what do I want for me and who am I and what am I here to be, right? That's internal work that's happening. Can I go out there and be okay with triggering people and know that I'm just being a beautiful person? That's the internal confidence that we build. The external is in going out and doing the damn thing. I'm here on a live stream. I'm posting every day on social media. I'm really working on when I go out of the house and when I have something that I want to say and share, doing it. And if it's not received, that's fine. Still doing me. So it's an internal and external process. But I can certainly say, to wrap this up a bit, because I have a call, I have to hop on. I wish I could share this meme, but I'll use it as like the cover or something of inspiring or triggering is medicine, whichever it is. And surrounding yourself with other people who understand that and whose goal is also to shine bright like you is life-changing. Last March, I went on an Abraham Hicks cruise to the Caribbean. And that was sort of like, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I was like, and then I'm going to just stay in Miami and see what happens. And that was how I ended up at Miami Beach. And it, coming from like a year of being surrounded by people that I felt like were really limiting what was possible for me, and being in a room full of hundreds of people that literally were just like, we want to be our happiest, funnest selves. And that's the goal. That's the goal. We just want to be nice to everybody. And I'm like gonna cry right now. It was amazing. I'm gonna cry because it filled me with so much love and joy and belief and what like a crazy concept that this is triggering. What a crazy concept that we're like the radicals because we want to be kind to other people, because we want to have fun along the way, because we believe that life should be good and that anything is possible. Surrounding yourself with those types of people is life-changing. Finding them however you can. And very luckily, here we are. None of you are in this room with me right now. But we're able to connect worldwide at this point. So however you can connect with those individuals, love to you too, do it and know that they're out there, and that includes podcasts. And you know, there's like mentors out there, but also like, okay, anybody else listening to that mentor, where's their community? Where's their followers? You know, I wasn't just lit up because Abraham Hicks was sharing things, although that was it. What really inspired me, because I've been listening to Abraham Hicks daily for years, what really changed things for me was being in the room with hundreds of others and just like going to bed crying with gratitude for each one of them, that we were all there with like this beautiful mission to shine brightly. And I can tell you that there was other people on the cruise, because it's not just the Abraham, like there's an Abraham Hicks workshop and that's a few hundred people, but the cruise holds thousands of people. There was other people on this boat that were absolutely triggered by our joy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you like go someplace and like somebody's just mad at you for like smiling and trying to wave, and they're like, ugh, like they just really wish you'd come down to their level. Bunch of grumpy old people, especially. It turns out if you go on a cruise longer than like 3 days, it's going to be a lot of old people, which no shade, but like there was a lot of grumpy old people on that boat. And I was just like, how can you be angry? We're on a cruise. We're on a fucking cruise. This is like where all of life just gets suspended, right? Like it all got left on shore. Am I the only one? So my advice, so me sharing with you, thank you for joining me. Me sharing with you, and my advice is to, in any capacity you can, surround yourself with people who believe in you. And I also want to share that one of those people is absolutely me. And I would be so excited to mentor you and helping you achieving that next level in your mindset, in your marketing, and tapping into your own magic. Despite whoever else is around you being triggered, I'm here to help you see the internal changes and the external action steps that we can take together, and I can hold you accountable in doing these things to create that confidence and to go out there and be seen and to create a life that lights you the fuck up and casts those shadows, but that it's a life that you dream of. And being here to hold you and comfort you too at times when other people are gonna be mean. They're gonna be mean. I can't, going back to the celebrities, like, or the Kardashians, like, they're human beings with hearts and feelings too. We say the meanest fucking shit about people we don't even know. And they have to see it. And then also have to have, that's why I wanna like tap into my inner celebrity. They have this inner infrastructure and this stability in who they are. I'm sure there's been days and headlines that they see that make them cry. But for the most part, knowing, no, I'm a badass boss woman or a mother or whatever they may be. I've like literally never watched them, right? I'm a billionaire. I think one of them's a billionaire, right? And like I'm doing me and getting back into that. So I'm here for you. I'd love to have you join me. I am opening up limited spots in a 3-month mentorship program with me starting November 27th. If that interests you, comment ready, send me a DM. I'll get you all the info and we're gonna like hands-on together. Basically, you're gonna have my full attention. That's why I'm limiting. Like you're gonna have me like mama bird every day. Like, okay, did you post the thing? Okay, everybody, how do we think that we could improve this? Okay, what's coming up in your mind? Okay, what's the shift we can make here? And holding you accountable and making those shifts to help you and me, right? Continue to shine up and connect more brightly. All right, I hope that all makes sense. I have goosebumps. I gotta go hop on a call. I made a mistake. I bought some protein powder. I made like me a nice protein shake, and I got the matcha flavor from Truvani. If you've heard of Truvani protein powders, I was like, that looks and sounds so good. I was like, I want the matcha. And I didn't think about it until I got it, and I was literally it came in last night and I was like, oh, that sounds so tasty. I'll have one of these. And I was drinking it at night and I'm realizing, oh fuck, matcha is like green tea powder. It has a ton of caffeine in it. And I think there should be like a warning on the bag about that. So I'm like trying to have like a nice like filling, grounding protein shake. And I got the matcha flavor and I'm like, so my energy is a little high, which is not a bad thing. Thank you for joining me. I'm on like a caffeine high, but this has been very inspiring for me to look at this and to share this with you and to be seen. So it does have a lot of caffeine. It's crazy. Anyway, lots of kisses. If you're interested in mentorship or you want to book me for modeling, I'm here in Miami, or check out my modeling blog on Patreon. All those things exist, and I will chat with you soon. Mwah.